Hello, welcome to another edition of RMS Radio live on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. You can check out this broadcast a number of ways. You can hit us up on KUAW.org, the TuneIn app, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, Roku. All you gotta do is type in KUAW and we will pop right up. And on some of those mods, you can actually view our panel as well too. Today is an edition of RMS Radio. And we're going to let our panel introduce themselves to you all.
I'm Jalea.
I'm King.
I'm Alana.
All right, these students have put together a broadcast today. Today is February 28th. It's the last day of Black History Month, but like I always tell my students, the last day of Black History Month is the first day of Black History Year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started. What problems do you all see with how Black history is being taught in schools right now?
How they try to tell us only certain things and not everything.
Yeah, they not telling the whole truth, and it's like they covering up stuff, and I think it's a lot. Like my ELA teacher, he tells the truth and like shows stuff that the other teachers don't teach us.
Yeah, I feel like it's very filtered, so that means that it's not the whole truth.
Now, I'm hearing a lot of you all saying that it's not the whole truth. I mean, what makes it seem like you're not, what lets you know that you're not being told the whole truth about Black history?
Because I can be looking up something for an assignment and something else pop up, and I didn't know nothing about that. Or I'll be in your class with Gethers, and you'll be teaching an assignment, and you'll start talking, and I tell you I've never heard anything like that before.
I say that because like when I'm outside of school or something, I'm like, and I do research on my own. I learn stuff that the schools never taught me, and like things I felt I should have knew since I was a kid. Little simple things.
Yeah, I do my research on my own pretty much. It's just something that I enjoy doing, and there's a lot of stuff that they never told us before that we should have known from the beginning, like King said.
What are some of the things that they like throughout school? I mean, you've all been like career students for, I don't know what, 8 years? That's a lot. I mean, you all been students more than most people keep jobs. But what are like, I mean, when Black History Month normally comes around, who or what is normally talked about?
Slavery.
Martin Luther King Jr., like
Rosa
same
Parks.
people over and over.
Malcolm probably.
Yeah, the same old stuff. Now you all said slavery, and you know, like we said in class, slavery is not the start of your history; it just interrupted it. But like you have a strong emphasis on slavery, or a strong emphasis on you know, we shall overcome. Although that is a part of our history, but it's not our entire history. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you think your school, or do you think schools in general do a good job of teaching
No.
Black history or anybody's history?
No.
I think they can do better. Like how we gotta do the well, we haven't did it yet, but how we did the Martin Luther King essay like every year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should have been learning and exploring other things, because if somebody asks me like Black history, the first thing I will probably think of is Martin Luther King, slavery and stuff. And I don't think that should be the first thing you think of, considering we had history before all those things, and like how they try to make slavery and racism the first thing when you hear Black or something, or it's a problem with the Black community or something.
Yeah, and we definitely, when we're talking about it in a school environment, we focus a lot on the negative things with what goes on in Black history, like slavery, etc.
Because I don't think I've never heard any teacher but you, Ms. Gethers, talk about Black-owned anything during Black History Month. Or they talk about the first Black something. It's always slavery, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, or something else. Or they never talk about any other person that has done something.
And the teachers, a lot of teachers don't seem passionate enough. Like, you can tell when the teacher's passionate when, like, they go outside their way and teaching you things that normally wouldn't be taught or something. And I feel like the schools try to quiet those teachers from telling the truth. And like, cause like the same teachers, I've been learning the same stuff for my years of education about Black history. It's really just been like Martin Luther King stuff repeated over in some books about a few others.
Or they try to put different known facts about it, or try to do this and just try to throw different stuff in.
And don't get us wrong, they're still very important. There's just a whole bunch of other people that
Right.
need more recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seemed like it's a controlled thing. Like, we're gonna
Yeah.
tell you this safe stuff about, because really, to be quite honest, I mean, Dr. King was, I mean, if they really go in depth with him, he was more of a revolutionary than what he was. I mean, than what they showed you. Like you said, there were so many other individuals out there who were just as groundbreaking, not more. And that's definitely a problem. You know, it's like a controlled curriculum. You know, we're gonna tell you just this part. You know, we're gonna tell you how we used to beat you and then allowed you to vote. You know, how we used to keep you in chains and now we just allow you to do certain things. You know, it's controlled. You know. What other problems do you see with how Black history is presented in schools? And if not just schools, but like just society in general.
I just see a lot of kids being like, do this, do that, because it's Black History Month.
Okay.
You already try to use it like, oh, it's Black History Month, I can do this, or I can do that. I can go out my way and do anything I want, and you can't stop me. Or you're being racist because they try to use the it's Black History Month, I can get my way through anything.
Okay.
Schools present how they present Black history. To be honest, I ain't seen nothing like besides broadcast club. What we doing? I ain't seen nothing about Black history in schools. And same for the community. It's like it was just swept under the rug. I ain't hear nothing besides the work we do and talk about it.
And then none of my other classes did anything for Black History Month but you when we did our little paper and we searched up Black history facts.
Mm-hmm. And you made a good point. Let's go back to what you were saying, Alana, when you said how kids would go over and say, because it's Black History Month, I should be allowed to do this negative thing, or I should be allowed to say this negative thing. I mean, let's kind of dig in a little bit on that.
I think that's bad because they already, not all people, or what they that's white or something, is racist, but like they try to, like make it like the Black community is wrong or something, and people that's Black going around doing these things and stuff, it's like they're proving their point, like the stuff that they hear and stuff. I think they should present well and carry themselves a different way than what they do. So we already got like the world against us, so they shouldn't make it like give them any reasons to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or like I can be walking in the hallway and I hear somebody say something and somebody be like, no, that's not cool, but it's Black History Month.
like
and
tie my shoe with Black History Month.
Yeah. Or somebody say I should be walking to school with a red carpet. Okay. Yeah.
They're definitely using such a positive thing in a very negative way. They're celebrating it in the wrong way. Feel like they're using it to their advantage to get what they want instead of doing the right thing.
So yeah, being ignorant with it. Okay. And like we always say with problems, I mean, the best way to overcome a problem is with education. So, which leads to the next point on your list. How can we better educate people on Black history?
Tell us the whole truth and not try to sugarcoat everything. Like, you can sugarcoat some stuff. I get it. Okay, we're in middle school, but I shouldn't have to figure out through on the internet that this happened when I could have learned this in school, or I should have learned this in school.
Definitely expand what we're learning more rather than just focusing on one thing like we said earlier, because there's a lot of people that the bigger people couldn't have done it without them, so just expand more.
We can go to like field trips and like things around the school, maybe like to show more love towards the Black history and like maybe we can have more Black lessons and actually learn about it when it's not just Black History Month. And then I feel that teachers, if like I know some, they got the like certain things they gotta stick to. Well, I think they should try to make time for something like that because it's important to learn about your culture. I'm pretty sure they want to learn about yours. And yeah, I'm sure we can go home and search it up on our own. But I feel like the education system should want to teach you about it, just so you will be aware and won't be ignorant and quit like hiding stuff.
And you're talking about the education piece. Why do you think teachers don't discuss Black history in class? Like they just shy away from it.
I feel like certain teachers feel uncomfortable about it, or they know that they don't want to talk about it because they feel like they're going to say something offensive. If you know you're going to say something offensive, then I wouldn't say don't talk about it, but just don't talk about that certain thing. But I feel like teachers be like trying to sugarcoat stuff and be like, no, I'm not going to talk about this, or we're not going to do anything related to Black History Month.
I feel like they don't really talk about it because they're lazy, I guess. Like, there's just so much to it that they just don't really want to get into it like that.
I think some teachers just honestly don't care.
I think all of the above is correct. Don't care, lazy, I don't know what to say. And I feel that if you're a teacher that says you don't know what to say or you don't know, your job is to research. I feel if you're a teacher and you're lazy, you shouldn't be lazy being a teacher. And if you just don't care, then you shouldn't be teaching, period, if you don't care. Every student's identity should be represented within the classroom.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, school photo. It's a photo, family photo. And if you're not represented in that photo, you're going to react in a certain way in order to be seen. That's why we make sure that every kid is celebrated. What tools do you think schools could use to do a better job with teaching Black history?
I think they should like show demonstration of what it is, and like as for tools, I don't know as like what too far to say about that. We could do like better books.
Yeah.
And like not just one book, like out of the whole year, like multiple books explaining about the Black history culture and stuff, and all the things that we was made and that was stolen and introduced by white men and stuff, saying that they made it and things. I feel tools would be like more books and resources on our computers and the assignments and stuff.
Or bring things that are that a Black person invented, just not things that you just show us an image and you expect us to get it like that.
A tool is definitely, y'all know I love to eat. They could do some more food. They could just, y'all know what I'm trying to get at with this.
Yeah. Like food's universal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can break a lot of bread, no pun intended, with food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about like cultural food.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Not just soul food, but African culture food,
right.
or like our Afrocentric places, like Jamaican food or Dominican food. We have a young lady in class that's Dominican. You're Puerto Rican. Those are all Afrocentric places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when we were in school, we had a lot of guest speakers. We had African dancers. We had actual field trips.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I did a field trip study, and we actually took kids to museums, and we actually took walks down the Signal Hill over there in Quindaro. We actually went to John Brown's house down in Osawatomie, Kansas, which is really mind blowing. Seeing that this white man was a strong piece of Black history. I think Malcolm X was a fan of John Brown. So yeah, I mean, field trips is definitely a key. I mean, like utilizing outside, your facilities. Um,
I don't even know what John Brown is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
oh,
never
yeah.
heard of him before.
That's
well,
nice.
John Brown, and you can do your own research on that. But I mean, John Brown is one of my favorite individuals. He actually was a precursor to the Civil War. I mean, he actually employed and put weapons in hands of slaves to help them fight against their oppressor. I mean, I definitely is a guy to look up. I told you all the story about when he was sitting down with a brother at his table, and white dude came in and said, "What's this N-word doing here?" And John Brown made the man apologize. I said, "No, you don't talk like that in my house with my friends." So yeah, it's definitely someone to look up who's local. Well, not local, but like 45 minutes that way. So I mean, so much history here in Missouri, so much history here in Kansas City, and it goes beyond slavery. 18th and Vine, Negro League baseball, jazz, like you said, food, barbecue. I mean, Gates Barbecue, Arthur Bryant's Barbecue, some of the oldest black-owned restaurants in the nation is here. You had Leon's grocery store. That's I think he's still alive right now, but I think that grocery store was the oldest black-owned grocery store in the nation. So I mean, all that history here in town. So, and then all the groundbreaking things too.
Yeah.
This is your show. I'm gonna stop talking. So I think what you have in front of you is little-known Black history facts.
Yes.
So let's go around and I'll let you all kind of just educate everyone on some Black history facts that you found out yourselves that you weren't actually taught in school. I gave the kids the task to go out and do their own research, and they actually came up with their own. Oh, I'm sorry, not their own, but they found Black history facts. So I'll let you all go around.
We have 9 Black history facts, little known Black
We
history
have 12.
facts.
We have 12. That says 12.
From our other broadcasting,
Yeah, just take
kids
time
all
to read.
around. Our first one is about William Tucker. Read that first.
Oh, he was from Great Britain, and he was born in one of the colonies. So, the first record African child to be born in the colonies in 1624.
Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech in 1964. President Johnson signs the Civil Rights Act of 1964-1955. Malcolm X, former Nation of Islam minister/civil rights activist, is murdered in 1965. President Johnson signs Voting Rights Acts of 1956-1967. Thurgood Marshall becomes the first Black U.S. Supreme Court Justice in 1968.
Vermont was the first colony to ban slavery in 1777.
Instead of a month, it used to be a week.
What she mean by that is Black history. Instead of a month, it used to be a week. And the NAACP stands for National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Claudette Colvin was a civil rights activist and pioneer of the 1950s. She was arrested for not giving up her bus seat on a crowded, segregated bus. She wasn't recognized in history because she was underage, too dark-skinned, and got pregnant at the age of 16.
And then a lot, not to jump in, but like they gave that credit to Rosa Parks. So really, it was Claudette she was the first one, but they gave that recognition to Rosa Parks because of the complexion of her skin.
The first self-made female billionaire was Black. That's Madam C.J. Walker. I love Madam C.J.
Okay. At first, Black history was called Negro History Week.
And quite a few, but not all, know Madam C.J. Walker as one of the wealthiest African American women of her time. She was an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and much more. She was an amazing one at that, but not all of us know that she wasn't just doing it for fun. She used her position as an advantage to help stop lynching and for the future progress and improvement on equality with white and Black people.
Garrett Morgan created a third traffic light known as the yellow light. Well, he actually created all three of them, and which is saving many lives today because it's chaotic before. He invented the breathing device, which was one of the first versions of the gas mask, and was the first black man to drive a car in Cleveland, Ohio.
In 1976, President, I don't know how to say his name, Ford
Yeah.
declared February to be Black History Month.
You know, first of all, you did a great job, and the Broadcast Club did a great job with these facts too. And I noticed some of you all were kind of lighting up when you were reading certain ones. Is there any that just stand out to you that's like your favorite?
Madam C.J. Walker.
Why is Madam C.J. Walker your favorite?
Because she inspires me to push myself to do better things. Like, start like how she pushes me to want to start my own business or pushes me to make myself a female billionaire.
The one that stand out to me is the one that I work when, cause Garrett Morgan, like, he created such a useful invention, and one that's still being used every day, right now, and like, that just shows like how they try to put them down back then, and the few that strive to be great, and like really left a mark on history, and then for him to be the first black man to drive a car in Cleveland, Ohio, that was amazing to me.
The one that stood out to me was Claudette Colvin because it was the fact that Rosa Parks got all the recognition and not the actual person.
Yeah, I would say my favorite Black history fact has to be Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the richest man of all time. He was number one. Number two was also an African. Solomon. It's King Solomon in the Bible, Israel. And one thing people fail to realize is that Israelites were nomadic people. And if you look at the maps, every place where they were in Afrocentric regions. Matter of fact, the Middle East is part of Africa. They just put that little canal there to break it up, but it's all Africa. But back to Mansa Musa. He was the king of Mali in the King of the Malian Empire, and he took a journey from Mali all the way to Egypt and gave out an equivalency of $100 million in gold, and it didn't even break his bank. I mean, like, the man had so much money. He also gave money to Egypt as well, too, and then also he gave so much money to them, it offset their economy. So me being a young man hearing that an African king did this, that was just groundbreaking. And when we told this to our students, shout out to Mr. Banks, who was not only one of my track coaches, but he also was my mentor. And we actually taught together when I taught sixth grade for the first time. We told this to the students, and they were like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, richest person of all time was an African. It's plain and simple, who came from one of the most wealthiest places on earth. And the thing about Africa is it's been so raped of resources that it's still the richest place on earth. After everything was stolen, it's still so rich with history, with culture, with resources, with minerals. So that was mine.
The one thing that gets me is people try to make it seem like Africa is such a poor country.
Place, right.
Right. But like one of the biggest misconceptions of Black history is they say that Africa, when you hear Africa, they say it's one place. No, it's 54 different countries. It's all separate, with their own separate culture. So, I actually touched down in Morocco, and I spent the day there, and actually stepping foot, although I was in Morocco, it's still considered African soil. It was just like an awakening presence to me. I haven't been the same since. So, but yeah, it's just so much that people of African descent, their hands touched on, that they just do not tell you. Let me ask you a personal question. Do you feel cheated that you're not told all this? Everything you read here, I want you to hold it up to the camera. The things that you all read here and the things that we talk about in class, do you feel cheated that you're not being told, not just African American history, but just different piece of history in general.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah, that's not a good feeling to feel like you're being cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're being robbed. See Mr. Walker back here in the goodie box. You see what he got back here. Let's go back to your list, and we're gonna come back to this too. Now we talked about how, different people's cultures being left out. You all mentioned in class unity in the community. How can we establish that?
I feel like everybody now, I guess they try to seem hard and rep these hoods, and if you're not hanging with them, you weird or you're an op, or if you do this, you not cool, you can't hang around them, and it's like everybody out here killing each other when we should be lifting each other up.
I think like places that try to preach about freedom and being close and stuff, like schools and churches. I feel like they should be trying to help to bring the community closer, like, cause I mean it is kids my age changing it, but like it's not a real big impact that I can have on the community. This is a start right here, but I feel like people with those resources and things should try to bring the community, like host and stuff. Like they know people of food or something, maybe they could like have a dinner or something just bring the community so the community can be close again. This could also help like crime rate and stuff, and like just so people could be like nicer and closer with each other.
Yeah, I agree with King. Like, there's a lot of ignorant people, and I feel like if you communicate with them and get on their level, then you could help them understand and they can comprehend, and that just goes a long way with just one person. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I go back to what I said earlier. I mean, I want everyone to be included in that family photo. I mean, and if you really look at everything, everyone is more connected than what they tell you. We're so connected by so much, and it's obvious, but they try to make it seem like it's not that. And when I say they, we talk about the oppressor. The oppressor comes in different shades and colors and ages and nationalities. I mean, oppression's oppression. And when you just heard these students say we feel cheated, I mean, that's an issue. I mean, that's something that we gotta look at. You got kids saying they feel cheated with their education. Which brings us to worldwide culture. I mean, how does what you all talked about today connect worldwide?
Cause it's not just Black history that's been hid. Like I think we should learn a lot about every culture. Like how you taught us a few. Like growing up, I used to think like back then, like almost every white person was racist to the blacks. But then you taught me it's people who helped. Like I think I'm not sure, but wasn't the person who helped build the Underground Railroads or hid in the house, wasn't he white or something?
I mean, like there are abolitionists that were actually white people who assisted with their establishments. I mean, there's a place where I want to take you all. There was an old brewery over in KCK. It's burned down now, but you can actually see where they hid slaves, and you can actually look up and see the hole in the floor where they covered it. So it's like, I mean, you had abolitionists all on the Kansas side, because Missouri was a slave state. Matter of fact, one of the last slave states. Go figure, right?
But my point is, like, they should teach us about every culture, make sure we know the full truth, because that'll cause us to look a different way. Because I know when I was a kid and I didn't know no better, and they telling me all this, I'm like, I don't like that person I'm sitting next to who probably didn't do nothing to me. And it's just because, like, I was naive, and the way of teaching of the educational system, it's not like what it should be.
And another thing that I was just thinking about while King was talking was whenever you think of slavery, everybody automatically thinks of Black people.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other people that are being enslaved right now. Like in China, there are still so many Chinese people being enslaved right now.
And then you just didn't have black slaves. You had you had you had Hispanic slaves, you had Indian slaves, and even all white people didn't have slaves. The Indians had slaves. Everybody had a slave because if you had slaves, you thought you had money.
You know, status thing. You even have blacks that own slaves too.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
point
and
I was
that's
getting
the
to.
trippy part right there.
When you told me that, I got shocked. I
Like-
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
you didn't know that, did you? I mean, like it was a status thing. Like, you know, it was just like owning. Well, I mean, slaves were property.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was like a thing to do. Like, I don't want to compare it to anything else, but you know how if I have it and you have it, well, why don't I do it too? You know, it's like we read in the first chapter of To Kill a Mockingbird. You know, that man doubled his wealth by having slaves in his house. You know, so. But yeah, I mean, you all are really, you know, striking it hard, and I really hope that, you know, I know our educators are looking at it. I just hope other educators, because I'm going to share this to other educational groups, that they are actually looking at this and really evaluating the curricula, because representation matters.
Yeah.
Students want to see themselves represented in the curriculum in a positive manner. You know, I mean, you can't just talk about the negative or the
Right.
okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about the good things, but it needs to be up under my boot. You know, that's a word I can't say on the air right now, because if I do, Mr. Walker, no, I can't say that. but you know, I mean, you all know where I'm coming from with that. We have these conversations in class. You know, so speaking of in class, I mean, you know, the four walls is great, but you can learn so much outside of the four walls. What field trips do you think could help you learn more about Black history or other cultures, or just items that will help you be more of a worldly minded student? Worldly in a sense of world awareness, not worldly as in secular.
I want to go to the baseball museum.
Negro League Museum,
hmm
which was free the whole month of February. Admission was free.
That's crazy that they didn't take advantage of that. And
Yeah,
like
they
the,
ain't. I ain't even know nothing
Black
about it.
archives and stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Black Archive.
yeah.
But I want to go to the baseball museum so I can see all different types of things, or all different types of people who paved the way for baseball.
I only know like a handful. I feel like it's a lot, like you said, that we could explore in KC, the building that the slaves was in with the hole in the ground. Like, I feel like we should go explore all that so we can know. Like, I feel like we should be set towards a point like, okay, where I want to go out of state to learn about it, because I done learned everything in state. So what I want to do now, I feel like that's how it should be. So we can explore like more like all culture spots, because I know it's probably many that we got. I think we should start there, and then we can go from there for field trips.
There's definitely so much to explore. It's hard to find a place where to start, but they have so many different options and resources to choose from that, like King said, it's crazy they didn't even try to take us to that museum. So, and I think it would be cool if we went to like a slave house or like a slave owner's house.
And burn it
That
down.
would be cool. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a crime. That's arson. Don't do that right
Now, I
now.
cut you out, but why would you want to go to a plantation?
Because there's just more to it than it's like an in-person thing. There's more feeling with it when you're witnessing it.
Yeah.
I feel like you'll be able to understand more, like people that's a visual learner, and even if you're not going to actually experience a little fraction of what they did, I feel like it will help you connect and understand to make wise choices. Like how we have a lot of students, Black students, saying words that we shouldn't and doing things. I feel like if we went there, we would see and be like, oh dang, I'm tripping, and then we like they'll fix their act and understand what the ancestors and people went through to pave the way to get where they could be at, just so they could have the pleasure or satisfaction or whatever they get from saying what they saying and all that. I feel like we done lost that. Like we think we just woke up one day and we was free, and forgetting that people fought for that. And Yeah, I think it'll really help. It'll be a good experience to
I feel like
help us.
if you go somewhere, for me, if I'm in a room with a whole bunch of people or in a room, you can feed off of the energy.
Yeah. Because like first, I was like, I ain't going to no plantation. But you made a good point. I mean, like sometimes actually going there and seeing it will put things in perspective. Because, like I said, plantation's still there, slave master's still there. You know, if you look at some of how they ran some of these plantations, some of your work establishments are ran like that. Some of your school establishments are ran like that. When you look at how some of these slave masters acted, some of your bosses, your jobs act like that. Some of your school officials act like that. Those mentalities are still there. People keep on saying, well, I didn't own slaves. Well, yeah, I get that. But how many people benefit from slavery?
Oh, but
How many folks still suffer from that? How many? Because someone said, individual who used to be up in our building, we have this conversation and we're like, look, people got to stop saying, I never owned slaves, so why are you coming at me with this? But it's like, but how many of us are still benefiting from the transgressions that took place? And that goes for everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone. Not just black, not just white, everyone. How can we shut down how can we unlock the shackles that are across our mind and our impulses? Like we said today, how many people are actually watching your show supporting you versus on Snapchat doing something ignorant?
a whole bunch.
Right, yeah, it's all about impulses. We are slaves to our impulses. So, I mean, you all are revolutionaries in the making. And that's a good reason why you all came and did this broadcast today, because you all put in that work. Not just you, but your broadcast club too, because every name I'm looking on this list that submit these facts, yeah, they are examples. Definite examples. I don't know, we kind of got off of the track a little bit, but it is what it is because we're trailblazers. We're going to blaze another track. What message do you want to send to the Secretary of Education of the United States of America?
Put different stuff in the curriculum. I'm tired of learning new things, but you're just trying to make it harder and harder. Cause it's still teachers telling me the same thing, but they trying to add something on it. Like, I'm not saying I'm tired of hearing Martin Luther King, but I want different stuff. I want different people. Like, I didn't learn about Black Wall Street till we did our essay paper last year. I didn't learn about half of the stuff I put in my essay paper till last year. Like, I want different things. So you just telling me this or telling me that.
Either the Secretary of Education is lazy or very uneducated, because I feel like it's a no-brainer of the things that they should be teaching us, and these things that brainwash us and things like Instagram, TikTok. It's sad that these things can teach me stuff you couldn't in my 8 years of being in school. I feel like they should go and just relook everything and see all the stuff that they missing, because it's not like it's a needle in a haystack. It's just obvious. So I feel like they should explore more things for every culture, and it's not just with culture stuff too. Like, the other things they can break down better and teach, like try to make a different way of teaching. But then I get it, at the end of the day, it's down to the teacher, because it's their classroom and they ain't got supervision all the time, so they gonna do what they feel at the end of the day. So,
Like King said, you think it's a needle in a haystack. It's really a big red shiny car right there that you can hop in and put it in the curriculum.
Yeah, it's definitely like like Julia said, they're telling us the same thing over and over, just like they're putting it in a different font. Like, so there's so many things that they could do. It's sad that we have to do it on our own, and you haven't been doing your job of teaching us.
It's like, I didn't come to school. I ain't been in school for 8 years, and now I'm just now learning stuff.
It's
if I was to talk to the Secretary of Education, I'd be like, first of all, I want to apply for your job. And second of all, I'm just tired of these schools putting mud in a cup and putting sprinkles on it and telling kids it's ice cream and expecting y'all to eat it. They lying to y'all. You know, give you the truth. Give you the real ice cream. You know, give you the truth. Tell you what needs to be learned. Because look, I look at it like this. Your oppressor knows everything. Don't let them trick you and say that they don't. They need to let these kids learn what needs to happen. Stop hiding things from them. You know, I remember I was in church, and they said, and you know, and I'm not trying to convert anybody or anything. You know, I'm a proud Christian male, and in my church, I remember my pastor telling me that the devil knows the Bible more than most Christians. So if someone hates you, they know more about you than probably someone that loves you. So my thing is, that needs to flip the script. If you really love these kids,
You should know more things.
you should
try
teach
to tell
these
me
yes,
more
you should teach
things.
these kids more than what someone who hates them know or know of. Because I say that, know of. And also empower them to empower others.
Right.
You know, teach a man to fish. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So, you know, it's what it is. You know? Like I said, you all little revolutionaries. Now, I'm loving this. Definitely loving this. But my goal, before we leave the school year, is to do a field trip to give you all a dose of culture. Yeah, that's my goal. And I know you're gonna hold me to it. I know
nice.
you are. King, you out, man. Look, you know, yeah. Each kid up in here that you see right now, they are known for holding me accountable for what I say. So if I don't, they will get back on there and say he didn't do it. But they not. I'm going to actually do it. If it's not a field trip, it'll be a guest speaker or something.
I was thinking about that when we was talking about field trips. I was like, instead of doing a field trip, y'all can at least bring somebody up here to talk about their culture
Yeah.
or to show items for their culture.
Right. You're right. Anything else you all want to add? Because I think you all blazed it.
No, that's it.
That's it. What if give a closing comment. Tell someone what they need to do in order to be more influential with Black history.
I feel.
Look them dead in the eye and tell them too.
I feel that every teacher in the building, our education system, should try to educate on culture more worldwide, not just in Missouri, everywhere.
I know you're probably getting tired of me saying this. Teach me new things. I'm getting tired of the same things.
They say we don't come to school to socialize. Teach me then.
Oh.
Ooh,
Well,
that's the
you heard it.
that's mine.
RMS Radio. RMS Radio is telling it like it is. They put it out there. You know, these kids are showing you that education is a revolutionary field. And you cannot call yourself a teacher if you're not a revolutionary fighting against the oppressive ignorance that they try to put in these kids' heads. As a teacher, I strongly suggest that you all learn from the students that you see in front of you and those like them. This is RMS Radio. Teach and learn. We'll see y'all next month.